never be a memory.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. Back like we ain't never left, baby. So, look, I'm sure you all know that a majority of people have received their $1,200 stimulus check. I think it went to like 80 million Americans the first day or something like that. And you know, you do with your stimulus check what you want. I started getting at people that were like making fun of people getting their $1,200. Like, oh, these people act like they never had $1,200 before. Clearly, you can tell who never had $1,200 before. Shut up. Let people do what they want to do with their money. But it's not enough. It's not enough. People have been out of work 30 plus days. That $1,200, it just isn't sustainable. And what Yang's been talking about recently is giving people $2,000 monthly checks until this virus is over with. Supposedly YouTube said it's okay to say the C word, but I don't trust it enough. I still think if you say the C word, there's a chance you can get demonetized, because YouTube can demonetize you for sneezing wrong, and then you got to go through a review, and then 3 days later they'll approve it, and everybody will have seen your video already, and it'll be pointless. But yeah, Yang said that he wants to see people get $2,000 a month, and I'm totally for that. Now, if you recall from my last video, I said I thought I heard talks of, you know, a potential UBI-esque, bill being introduced, or talks of it being introduced. And from what I understand, Senator Bernie Sanders, Representative Tim Ryan, and Ro Khanna introduced legislation Tuesday to deliver $2,000 monthly payments until employment returns to pre-COVID-19 levels. The payments would cost billions of dollars, but when asked if this was too expensive, Yang dismissed the idea that cost should be at the forefront of considerations right now. Let's pause there for a second. And I said this before a couple videos ago. Have you ever noticed that when it's something for us, when it's something for the people, they're always asking, how are you going to pay for it? How much is it going to cost? But the deficit. But when it's something for them, the upper echelon, they never ask the cost. When it's for the military, they never ask what the cost is. They can inflate the military budget. They can do whatever they want and not blink at the cost, unless it's for us peasants. Then it's like, but the cost.
¿Cuánto cuesta? That's the most common way to say it. How much does it cost? ¿Cuánto cuesta?
The cost. It's total BS. And if you're using that, but the cost, as an excuse to not help people out, then just be forthright and say you don't care about helping the people out. Because if you did care, you'd be getting on them for dropping as much money into whatever they want to drop it into that suits them best. Yang went on to say, we have mass graves and people doing really heartbreaking things to try to keep themselves safe. But it can get even worse if you have people literally facing mass deprivation, and they're not sure how they're even going to put food on the table. So this, to me, is a necessary investment in the preservation of our economy and society. So Yang had also mentioned Biden, and about Biden being for like a UBI kind of deal right now until this is over with. And I want you guys to tell me what you think about Yang's answer. I really want your honest opinion. When they asked him about that, when they asked him specifically if Biden would back his plan, Yang said that the former U.S. vice president was a very smart, practical leader who knows we need to do everything we can to provide for people in a time of crisis. Do you agree? I want your honest answer. Do you agree? I want to see what you guys have to say. in the comment section, and then I'll give you my take, even though you probably already know it. Rokana went on to say, a one-time $1,200 check isn't going to cut it. Americans need sustained cash infusions for the duration of this crisis in order to come out on the other side alive, healthy, and ready to get back to work. Members on both sides of the aisle are finally coming together for the idea of sending money out to people. Representative Ryan and I are urging leadership to include in this bill, in the fourth COVID relief bill, in the package, to truly support the American working class. So, do I think it's going to happen? Are they going to shell out $2,000 a month until this crisis is over? No. No, I don't think they're going to give us $2,000 a month. However, I can see them doing something like $1,000 a month. Like Canada did their $2,000 for 4 months, right? I can see the U.S. doing something like, all right, we're going to ship out $1,000 for the next 3 months until this is cleared up. I can see them doing something like that, possibly at the most. I really don't see them doing the $2,000. I don't. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump's like ready to open back up. This dude is like, time to go back to work. It's not over, bro. People are going to get sick again. If you send people back out there too quickly, right? In Connecticut, it just got mandatory. They just made it mandatory that if you are going in a grocery store or something along those lines, now you have to have a mask. You will not be allowed on the premises if you do not have a mask, right? And this just happened today. There's no way that we'll be okay if we open up too early, send people back out into the midst of this shit. What's going to happen is people are going to get sick all over again. It's probably going to be worse than last time. You need to take the best precautions you can. And like I said, I've always disagreed with Trump on policy. I've never been bothered by him saying stupid stuff on Twitter or being snarky at reporters. That never bothered me. But something like this, that's a no-go. I think I read he's like telling governors and stuff like, feel free to open up after May something. Is it May 15th? It might be May 15th. I got to double check that. But pretty early. And look, we all want to get back to work. We're all eager to try to get back to our everyday lives. I miss my gym. I miss the gym. Gym. Bitch, I miss you. But I want to be safe. I want to be safe. You know what I mean? I can't risk myself getting sick and then making other people sick because we went back too early, or vice versa. So we need this, money, and we need it to come in increments of bare minimum $1,000. Now look, a lot of people say $1,000 is not enough. I get it. I understand $1,000 in this time of crisis isn't enough. Like the $1,200 wasn't enough in this time of crisis. But if you know you have that to count on, you know what's coming in, that's damn well better than nothing. That's better than nothing. Now look, if we got $2,000 a month, that'd be great. Fantastic. I just think based on the last bill that they put out, that they really didn't give a fuck about us. And they were all for, bailing out Wall Street, bailing out the big companies, and shitting on us. So them saying, yeah, $2,000, sure. It's hard for me to see. That'd be great. But I'm more of a pessimist in this area. I can see them doing $1,000 and calling it a day. But yeah, Yang's been pushing that, and this is something he's strong in. And look, I've seen people arguing amongst themselves like, this is not UBI, because this is not UBI. Yeah, it's not UBI, but it's in the spirit of it. It's like a taste, right? It's like a taste of what could be. So just embrace it. You know what I mean? Just embrace people getting these cash payments. I understand it's not universal basic income in the way that we've thought about it, but just embrace it. It's in the spirit of, and it will get people in a different mindset if they got that. Trust and believe me. Because imagine getting those $1,000 payments and you're still working. You know, you'd actually have money to set aside for something catastrophic in the future, or just for doing little things. I don't want to delve deep back into why people should get UBI. But if you haven't checked out Andrew Yang Converts Republican, check out that video. It was when I covered Russell, before him and I were even like friends. That's like my brother now. But when I covered Russell, talking about UBI, it's probably one of my bigger videos as far as views go. So check that out. But in other news, Andrew Yang did an interview on G0 World. I want to say it's called G0 World. And man, he made a statement that I was talking about a couple videos ago about how everything's being fast-tracked because of the virus. And what he said in that video was, we're experiencing 10 years of change in 10 weeks. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. We're experiencing 10 years of change in 10 weeks. That's incredible. Look, I'm not going to, I don't know if his video is, if this interview is monetized or if he can claim it. So I'm going to play for you a couple audio clips that I found interesting from that interview with G0 World that I think you guys might find interesting too. I'm going to play you a couple clips and then we'll come back.
Or universal basic income was the cornerstone of Andrew Yang's 2020 presidential campaign. We all remember that. And a concept not even his fellow Democrats were quick to embrace. What a difference a few months make as the White House begins sending out relief checks directly to taxpayers, and governments around the world are eyeing more permanent income solutions in the wake of this pandemic. Andrew Yang, my friend, good to see you, man.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me, Ian.
Okay, let's jump into some policy first of all. So let me ask you about UBI, because of course you've seen that the Spanish government announcing that they want to move forward with it. You've seen the Pope come out just the other day and saying we need universal basic income. I mean, the way that you thought about it, first of all, was $1,000 a month check for everyone. When you see what's been happening now, the number of people that are being thrown off the rolls, the unemployment level we have right now, how does it make you think? Does it change the nature of the universal basic income that you think is required in terms of the urgency, in terms of the amount, in terms of how it's actually implemented? How's it changed your views?
It's reinforced my views in just about every respect, Ian. I thought we were in the midst of a slow-moving crisis before the pandemic. And what this pandemic has really done is it's accelerated trends that were already happening, where we were already seeing the Amazonification of our economy, the closing of brick and mortar retail, education heading more and more online. And now all of those trends have been revved up. I've been saying to people that it's like we are experiencing 10 years of change in 10 weeks. And so when I advocated for a $1,000 freedom dividend during my campaign, I thought we needed it immediately, but now the need is almost existential because you have millions of Americans who are out of work. They have a very unclear future. A lot of the jobs that have disappeared are not going to come back. So we need to put this stimulus money into our hands, but then we need to make it monthly and ongoing throughout the crisis. In my view, it should extend beyond the crisis. And to the extent my thinking has changed, it's been in the amount, where I now think that an amount greater than $1,000 would be helpful and called for.
First of all, why would you say that? And secondly, what's the figure you're thinking about? How'd you come to that figure?
Well, the $1,000 a month was never going to be enough for most people to do more than maybe eke by very, very marginally. The thought process is that it would be a supplement on top of existing gig economy work and other forms of income. But now you've essentially turned the gig economy off in many industries. You've cut off any source of income to people. And so the levels that we're getting in the stimulus checks, I think, are appropriate. This $1,200 per adult, $500 per child. I wish it weren't means tested. And I also think that there are all these gaps in what we're doing with the stimulus checks right now, where there are many, let's call it 19 or 20-year-olds who are taken as dependents by their parents. So the 19 or 20-year-olds getting zero, and then the parents are also getting zero because the $500 only applies if you're 16 or younger. So I would have made it much more of a blanket, unconditional, no means testing, giving it to everyone. And I think that the amounts that they're looking at, where it's essentially somewhere between $1,200 and $1,800 per person, would be appropriate.
Man, so, I've gone off on Sanders a couple times in the last couple videos, because how he's shaming people in a sense, calling them irresponsible, and how he called out Breonna Joy Gray. That was really shady. That was really nasty of him. And a lot of the big Bernie supporters have lashed out at Sanders. But let me tell you, Kyle fucking Kalinske, I mean, he really went in on Sanders. He called him a cuck. Now, you got to understand the significance here. Kyle Kalinske was a huge Sanders supporter. Huge. Right? And probably one of the most influential left YouTubers, period. And he always dug Yang. Yang was in his top 3. And just to reiterate, Kyle's for UBI over a federal jobs guarantee. Always has been. So he's always favored Yang. Yang wasn't his number 1. But he always dug Yang. They disagreed on Medicare for All. It's fine to disagree with people. Like, that's okay. That's an okay thing to do. But, man, oh man, he went in on Bernie Sanders. And, I mean, boy, oh boy, he didn't bite his tongue. He didn't bite his tongue. I'm going to play you a little bit of that, and we're going to come back.
So don't get me wrong, guys. I think that Bernie thinks he's doing the absolute best thing for his movement and the people at this point in time. In fact, I have no doubt about that. Bernie has proven to me over the years that you'll get no cynical interpretation of his actions from me. I mean, I think he's proven himself over and over to be effectively a working class hero and champion, and that he really cares about these issues, and he's doing what he views is the best thing to bring about a better future and a better reality. I think that's all the case. However, I think Bernie is incredibly naive and very weak. And it brings me no joy to say that. I think that what he did here, to steal a term from the kids, this is, he's a cuck. Just like this, if you're president. Sign your name, that's it, you're done. You can take care of it. The president can do a lot of things through executive orders. A lot of things. Bernie Sanders could have made a list of 10 amazing executive orders and said, Joe, listen, here's the list. If you do these 10 within the first 100 days, I will do everything I can to get you elected, and I will do everything I can to make it so my people help get you elected. If you tell me you don't want to do these, good luck in November. Now, there's no way Bernie would do this because he was already telling people in the middle of the race, if I lose, I'll support the Democratic nominee. Now do you see the problem with that? And now Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is doing the same thing. In every interview she's giving, she's like, okay, so I'm definitely going to support the Democratic nominee. I'm definitely going to support Joe Biden. But man, do I need concessions. Concessions for what? You have to withhold something. You need to have something of value to them for them to give you anything. What's of value is your support. If you pledge your support up front, they're not going to give you Dickie McGee's axe. How do I need to explain this to people? Like, this should be obvious. You can't say, I'm definitely going to vote for you, and by the way, here's my list of stuff I want you to do. No, you have to be like, I'm going to withhold my support. I'm not going to vote for you if you don't do the things I want. Now, you say to me, well, Kyle, Joe could just walk away from that. Except he can't because Bernie represents a 30% chunk of the Democratic voting base. He's got all the young people. Joe got waxed, son, in like the under 45 demographic. It's like all of Generation X and all of the millennial generation that, voted for Bernie. So, I mean, he's not that dumb where he thinks he could really put his middle finger up to all Gen Xers and all millennials. You're going to support it or are you not going to support it? Because this is all, if you want my vote, if you want my support, it's going to depend on some things. It's not unconditional, son. But Bernie has gone down that, cuck path of like, Trump is so bad, he's so bad, he's so really, really, really bad that no matter what, we have to support the Democrat. And so when they give us Dickie McGee's axe, I have to take it. Well, you just squandered all of the leverage that you had, and you did have leverage. You did have leverage. When you got 30% of the party in a movement at your every beck and call, you have leverage. And if you think maybe I'm being too much of a hard ass and playing too much hardball here, oh please, I know people within the campaign at the top echelons who are like, Bernie should have done exactly the thing that you're saying that he should do. Exactly the thing that the exact format. Here's 10 executive orders. Here it is. You have to do these in the first 100 days or good luck, and I'm going to walk away. But see, in order to do that, you have to be willing to walk away. And Bernie's not, because Bernie's a team player. Rah, rah, Democrats, yay! Well, what happens when the Democrats give you nothing? What about that? Well, then they just go back into the Trump bad mode, and that's it. Well, congratulations. Very, very high-minded. Oh, Trump is bad. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. I couldn't tell. Jesus Christ, it's like dealing with children. This is the weakest thing I've ever seen in my life. How are you going to run in 2016, lose, get nothing, build a movement, almost win, and then there are no actual do or dies. There are no actual staples that you're asking for to support Biden. There's no there. There's no like, you have to do this or I'm gone. It's just like, oh, we made some task forces and oh, here's a couple issues where Joe pretends to agree with me. Bernie, it was never about you. There was a time when Bernie knew this. It used to be not me, us. Now it's not us, him. Him meaning Biden. So it's not about you, Bernie. So if somebody supported your movement because they support Medicare for all, you can't get mad at them when they're not going to go vote for Biden because Biden doesn't support Medicare for all. You see what I'm saying? Like, there are issues that are unique to Bernie that people were like, I love that. I'm in. And then you can't say it's irresponsible when the whole reason they supported you was something that Biden is pledging not to do. That's not irresponsible. That's very straightforward. That's very understandable. That's very rational for them to say, sorry, I'm not going to partake in it. So what was irresponsible was totally conceding on the issue of electability when that was the main issue driving the race. And it was especially irresponsible given the fact that you had working men and women all across this country donating their last $20 in you and their little bit of hope they had left, they invested in Bernie Sanders' campaign. And now you turn around when you endorse Biden and you like look down on the people who aren't immediately following you. Oh, please. The hell out of here, man. Get the hell out of here. I'm open to, if people want to make reasonable arguments when it comes to Biden, I'm listening. I hear you. Do I think Joe Biden is definitely better when it comes to the courts? No question. I'd take a centrist on the court over a far-right person any day of the week. Do I think Joe Biden is better when it comes to climate change? Yes. There are some issues where Biden is clearly better. We can have those conversations. But if you're going to bring people in, you're going to bring people in like that, being honest and open. You're not going to bring people in with the badgering and the looking down at them and insulting them and shaming them and calling them irresponsible when Brianna put aside a year of her life to do absolutely everything she possibly could to get Bernie elected. Now, let me tell you something. Bernie Sanders, what did he say when Elizabeth Warren was not endorsing him immediately after she dropped out? What did Bernie say? Hey guys, come on now. Everybody relax. Let's give her some space. Let's give her some time to think. At some point, she'll make her mind up, and we have to respect the decision. You couldn't say the same thing for somebody who put everything on the line for you, Bernie? Shame on you, man. Shame on you. And everybody knows I love Bernie. I love Bernie. Always have, always will. And he awakened a lot of people, and for that we owe a debt of gratitude to him forever. But let's keep it real. What he's doing here and what he's saying here is flat out wrong. It's flat out wrong. And let's just say he might call what people like me are doing irresponsible, but if I was in a conversation with him about him and I was giving him my reasoning, he wouldn't have a rebuttal. He wouldn't have a rebuttal. Because yes, Biden is just that bad.
Whew. That was an RKO. So look, Sanders this time around really disappointed me. He did. He did. A lot of you in the comment section right now are probably like, well, I never fucked with him anyway. I never liked Sanders, and I get that. But you got to remember, before I joined the Yang Gang, I was just full on a Sanders supporter. And then, later on I became, Yang was my number one, and I wanted to see his vision through. Bernie was a number two, and Tulsi was my number three. And, I still liked Bernie. And it's not like I hate him now. I don't hate Bernie Sanders. But what we thought of him turned out to be something else entirely. And it's kind of disappointing. I know there's a lot of people that are heartbroken. And look, maybe he thinks I don't know how he's rationalizing it. I mean, the Dems think Trump is an existential threat and that no matter what, he needs to be stopped. And I get that. But, I mean, Sanders could have at least, sat Biden down and said, hey, Biden, if you want my endorsement, fine. To do it, though, you need to do X, Y, and Z. You need to do these 3 executive orders. He didn't even do that. Instead, he got a task force. A task force. We're too old for this. Y'all too old for this. Come on now. Stop. Just stop. You got a task force. Cut it out. Cut it out. You're trying to play us like an instrument, and it's not going to happen. So, very interesting to see. I can tell, if you would ask me 3 weeks ago, if you would ask me 2 months ago, if you would ask me whenever, I never thought I'd hear that kind of language from Kyle Kalinske directed towards Bernie Sanders. Sad. So, yeah, wow. I just wanted to bring you that. And I've got some exciting things coming up for you guys. I'm working on a video right now. Not your typical video. Expect it in 2 maybe 3 days. It's not your typical video. It's different. I think you all are gonna enjoy it, and I'll announce when it's dropping. I'll try to announce the day before, because I want you all to check it out, and I want Yang to see it too. It's not what you think at all. It's gonna be funny. So stay on the lookout for that. So if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. Just thrust that like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to the channel, especially in these hard times. Every little bit helps. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.